Okay, so welcome to tonight's Iron Legacy team call. I'm going to make sure that everybody is muted. Tonight we get to hear from Colleen Curtice, who I am just really, really excited to get to hear from. I first met her, and you may not even remember this, Colleen, but at Leadership 2 years ago, we were on the same little team for the team challenge or whatever out there on the beach. And so she was just, I was drawn to her energy and everything. And then she had mentioned that she loves to speak, and I was like, "Ooh, will you speak for us?" So I'm really excited to hear from her. So she's a 7-star diamond. She's a 2-time elite coach, and last year for 2016, her team was ranked number 135 in the network. So she knows what she's doing, and I can't wait to get some nuggets from her. So I am going to turn it over to you and mute myself.
Cool. Hi, ladies. I don't know if there's any gentlemen here, but hello, everyone. Like I was telling Natalie before we got started, I just got back from 12 days of travel, and jet lag is so real right now, even though I didn't fly very far. So if I seem a little off, that's kind of what it is, but I absolutely love sharing my heart on this topic that we're going to talk about tonight. So thanks for coming, and I'm glad to see some faces here staring back at me because I thrive off that energy. So I like to share a little bit about my background and where I've come from, because the things I'm going to share tonight are one of those things where you hear and you're like, "Oh, well, that's nice for you, Colleen. Like, yeah, well, I'm sure that you're good at mastering your mindset, but you know, that's just you." And I really think it's important to share my background of where I've come from, a little bit of what I've been through, and kind of where my perspective has changed so much in terms of, you know, starting this business and thinking about mastering my mindset. So, oh, there's more people hopping on. How exciting. So I'm 31 years old. I now live in Lake Tahoe, California, and I was originally born and raised in Boston, Mass. And the reason I share that, as far as how far I live from where I grew up, is because it's kind of like two different planets. I don't know if you guys have been to Lake Tahoe or if you've ever been to Boston, but I was born and raised in this amazing childhood where my parents gave me, like, you know, private education. I was in sports. We had this loving family. And, you know, I thought I had like everything that any girl would ever want, which I did until I got a little bit older. And I realized I was kind of living under a rock. You know, being born on the East Coast, it's just kind of a little bit more traditional than where I am now in California. And it's funny because I married a total born and raised California boy. So, you know, the way I was raised was you go to school, you get good grades, and you get married, and you have kids, and then you have this resume, and then you have a job, and even if you hate your boss, you go to work every day, and it doesn't matter. And then once you turn 65, you retire, and then you live your life. And I've always kind of been the black sheep of my family, where I was like, wait, there's got to be more. Like, I love adventure. I love self-expression. I love exploring. But, you know, the way I was raised was you just kind of stay in this little box right here. And right out of college, I got this corporate job. I worked for Verizon Wireless, and back in 2006, that was a pretty big deal because this was before smartphones. So I was really happy to get this job because it looked awesome on paper, and I thought the salary that I got was the best thing since sliced bread. And I worked for Verizon as a manager for 6.5 years, and I was only 23, 24 years old. But when I turned 24, that's kind of when I drew the line in the sand, and I decided that there's definitely more out there for me. I didn't really know where out there was, but I have always heard about California, and so I took a trip out here, and I was actually able to transfer my Verizon job. And within 3 months, I moved my entire life in a little pod, packed it up, shipped it across country, didn't know anyone here, and I felt like I was finally beginning my life that I'd always envisioned as, you know, I love hiking, I love being adventurous. But the hard part for me was I had this corporate job where I had to commute 26 miles to work one way. And where I live here in the Tahoe Basin, like I'm right on the lake, everyone's an entrepreneur. Everyone has their own business. It's all like this small town mountain feel. It's all based on tourism. And here I am, you know, everyone's like going to the beach, going skiing, and I'm just going into this corporate job that unfortunately, when I moved across country, I ended up working for a really terrible boss. So I remember this 1.5 years of working with this terrible boss as probably the most difficult and challenging year of my life, because I don't know if you have ever had an experience like that, but when you have someone that is just mean and has this power trip and they're out to get you, it kind of feels like you're bashing your head against the wall every single day you go into work. And I was a good employee. I worked hard, and she made me feel about this big. My job ended up really taking a toll on my life. I developed stomach ulcers, insomnia. I racked up $20,000 of credit card debt. My now husband, then boyfriend, left me. So yeah, I was kind of a hot mess when all this was happening. And it got even worse, where I came into work one day and this terrible boss actually found a way to get rid of me. So, I didn't do anything wrong. She just didn't like me. And she transferred me to another store, which I thought was an awesome thing. But what I found out was that I was actually getting laid off. So I got transferred, but I came into work one day, was handed a white envelope, and within 5 minutes, my 6-year corporate career was like, poof, gone. And I'll never forget that moment of feeling so defeated, and I totally acted like the victim. And I promised myself that I would never give someone else the opportunity to be in control of my title, my time, because when you work for someone else, you show up, you give them your all. And I was like, how dare they do this to me? So that was kind of when I decided I would no longer go back to a toxic environment. And I didn't care what oddball jobs I had to pick up to make ends meet. But that was the moment where the switch flipped for me, that I was going to have to create my own success. Luckily, things started to kind of come back up on the upswing where, being 3,000 miles away from home, being in debt, losing your job, losing your boyfriend, it was hard. And I had to really find my footing again. And I started to think to myself, like, I'm better than this. I know I'm made for more. There's got to be a friend out there or someone that can offer me a job doing things that I love. And because I was so unhealthy with the stomach ulcers, I couldn't even eat salads at that point. Like, it was really bad, my stomach. That's actually when I started to think of who's a friend that's successful and who is someone that, can help me get healthy. If you guys don't know Elizabeth Hartkey, she's my upline. She's one of our superstar diamonds at Team Beachbody. Most people don't know her name in the spotlight because she's such humble pie, but she's on the Million Club, all the accolades that you can imagine. I went to high school with her, and I remember thinking oh, that girl Elizabeth, she's successful. She lost 40 pounds. And wait, she grows this business online and she travels. I'm going to do that. And most people are like, how did you get started? How did you just make this switch so fast? And I think that that's kind of where I get into the topic today of, talking about mastering your mindset is I made a decision to own a business from the day I signed up. I didn't let fear or hesitation or anything get in my way, mainly because my back was against the wall and I refused to go back to that toxic work environment. But more importantly, I just wanted to create something for myself. And I took 110% responsibility, to have to grow this business. So when I signed up with Liz, she got on the phone with me and is like, hey, by the way, I'm going on my honeymoon for 2 weeks, but here's what you got to do. Here's Success Club. Here's Emerald. I'll talk to you in 14 days when I get back from my honeymoon. And I just took it upon myself. And this is before Zoom. This is before, I don't know how long you guys have been coaches for, but we didn't use Zooms. We didn't have all these crazy coach basics and trainings. And I just went out there and said, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I know I have to become a student of success. When I look at these other successful Beachbody coaches, I know I have so much to learn. So I started hitting Success Club and, I was like, okay, 2 people. I signed up my husband and I signed up a friend. I hit Emerald. But then I started to feel like if I wanted to get to the next level, there was a whole different ballgame that I was going to have to play. I knew, we all know how to hit Success Club, right? We all know how to hit Diamond. So why isn't everyone doing that? And that was my question. I said, I'm doing it. Why can't I help any and everyone do it? And that's when I realized it's all up here. So I lead my entire mission and my entire brand and my trainings and all my coach conversations based on the quality of their thoughts. And a lot of people don't talk about this stuff on team calls because it kind of goes in one ear and out the other, because it's that kind of wonky stuff where people don't want to hear about mastering their mindset. And it's the reason why is because it's the hardest muscle to train. Day 1 of insanity sucks, right? But by week 2, week 3, it gets easier. You start to train those muscles. It's really hard to uproot and rewire and completely change your mindset from everything that we've known up until, I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 31. So from 27 to 31, I have had to completely rewire my brain. So what did I do as a new coach? All I knew how to do was, okay, I can invite to a challenge group, vital behavior number 1. Number 2, I can drink a shake and work out. But number 3 was the one I could control the most. And that was when I knew the difference between unsuccessful people and successful people was the way that they think. So I had to ask myself, what is my upline and what do these other coaches have that maybe I'm missing? It's not that I don't have it and I can't attain it. It's just that most people on this journey, they haven't really taken into account the amount of personal development and growth that we have to do to see success. So often when I work with my team, or anyone for that matter, I tell them, I say, the success of your business will equal the amount of personal growth you go through. We can all do hundreds and thousands of invites, but if you're just doing the invite and then you get someone in your challenge group and you're not helping them change their life and you're not helping them believe that they can have a healthier, better, happier life, if you're not transferring that belief that you have to others, you'll never create a successful team that you see out there, leaving a legacy. So I knew I had to become a student. So PD for me was something I totally geeked out on in the beginning. I knew that I had to get real with myself as far as self-reflection. So I really challenge people to use their imagination. And people are like, ew, let's not talk about this stuff. And I'm being honest, visualization and imagination is a big thing. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, ask yourself, how often are you visualizing yourself in your future identity? So let's say you want to be a 10-star. Let's say you want to make $100 a month, whatever it is your goal. You have to be able to, as a successful business owner, you have to be able to see it. So when I think of all these millionaires, and even if it's not in Beachbody, think about it. They have envisioned and been able to feel and see the result in the future before it's happened. It's not like, okay, I'm just going to do 1,000 invites and I'm just going to keep going and hope that I become successful at this. You have to get super real about the thoughts that you're allowing into your mind and the things that you're visualizing into the future. So I'm going to give tons of personal development recommendations and things like that. But if I'm being totally honest with you guys, the difference between successful coaches and unsuccessful coaches is the way that they think. So when life hands you like a curveball, when your team hands you, this challenge, when life gets crazy, are you seeing it as an opportunity to kick ass? Or are you playing the victim role and you're like, oh, why is this happening? That is something that takes time and effort to first be self-aware of and second to work on. And I'll give you guys an example of more of my personal story, because not only have I lost my job and, that story sounds so blah, right? When I tell it, it's just this bullet point, lost your job, debt, unhealthy, we've heard that a million times, but I think back to how bad it really was. I couldn't even afford light bulbs. I didn't have heat for 2 years. It was bad. And I think to where I am now, and people ask me how, and I say, I changed my thinking. And if I can teach other people how to change their thinking, you guys are going to rock, I don't know if I can swear in this call, but the shit out of your success club. You're going to be excited. You're going to wake up every morning and you're going to be confident because the thoughts that are up here, they're rooting you on to go kick ass in your day. My personal example. So back in 2014, October, it was the first year I was going for Premier and Elite. I had no idea really if I was going to make it. I had the points. I didn't have the diamonds. And life threw my husband and I a huge curveball. And I'm sure you can all relate where, this massive obstacle falls in your lap and you're like, what the heck just happened? Why is this happening to me? So I'm kind of like a cougar. My husband's a lot younger than me. He was diagnosed with a form of testicular cancer. And we got this diagnosis, and within 10 hours, he's having surgery. And within 10 hours, they're like, you have to do chemo. And it was so insane. And I remember doing all of this personal development. And I remember hearing in the back of my mind, successful people practice good thinking. And I'm like, what the heck am I going to practice good thinking in this scenario? And then I remembered that, when Carl Deichler has a curveball thrown at him, he doesn't have the option to not show up today because he doesn't feel like it. I had to own being a CEO. There's actually this transition in your coach career that will happen where you go from being a Beachbody coach that drinks Shakeology and runs challenge groups to becoming a CEO when you wake up and you serve other people every single day. It's not about you anymore. Like if I don't feel like it today, like I'm exhausted right now, right? It's not about me right now. I am here trying to serve you guys and help you guys. So I remember when we got the diagnosis, I said, if I take a step back from Beachbody, I will crumble. So because of personal development and because of the way I was practicing good thinking, I leaned into the challenge. I'm sure you guys have all heard Christina Delgado say that, right? So I said, I have to show my team and my audience and my social media that we can do hard freaking things. And so I dove into my challenge groups. I did more PD. We shared the journey. And I did not put myself in a dark room and just get mad at cancer, because that does nothing for anyone, although that's what we want to do, right? And so you might have an instance in your life where you're like, wow, like, you know, the universe is testing me right now. And anytime that a challenge falls in my lap, I know that the universe is saying, hey, remember that time you told me you really want this business and you'll do anything for it? This is my chance to show it. And it totally paid off. I doubled my income. I became more inspired through the struggle. My husband, rather than watching me crumble, because trust me, the old Colleen would have totally crumbled, you know, my challengers, I built these beautiful relationships. I rank advanced and all these amazing things when I thought I was going to crumble. And it was just because I said, what would a successful person do? They would practice good thinking and they would see this challenge as an opportunity to show up. So every single day, guys, I tell people, I'm a very visual person, obviously. I want you to picture your life like a fighting ring. Okay, so here's the UFC fighting ring. And if you guys ever watched it on TV, there's lights and people pay thousands of dollars and there's all these people and it's you and it's life in this fighting ring. And every day it's punching us and knocking us down. And I want you to picture your family, your audience, your loved ones, your haters, your team, everyone is in the stands watching you in life. And when you get knocked down, if you were really in a fighting ring, I guarantee you wouldn't just lay there. You would get back up and you would fight back. So when life is hard and this business is hard, and I'm sure you can all agree, this is the hardest work you've probably ever done, right? Changing your mind, your body, your habits, everything. We're changing everything. That's the hardest work that you'll ever do. It's the only way to come back from challenge is to fight. And I know that sounds so simple. You're like, whatever, Colleen. But I want you to remember that when a challenge falls in your lap tomorrow, tonight, maybe it did today, your only option is to get up and fight. So if you don't have a strong mind, you're not going to feel strong enough to fight back. So if there's, you know, I have coaches on my team who for the first 18 months of their career, they were I say they're pulling the cobwebs off them. So when you signed up as a coach, maybe your confidence wasn't there. Maybe you weren't happy with where your body was. Maybe you weren't really sure if you could help people. You know, we have all these self-doubts. You're really working on your confidence for the first 18 months of your journey, depending on where you are when you come into this business. You can't expect this huge, massive business to happen. Maybe for some of you it has, depending on where you enter this business. So I always tell people that for the first 18 months, I need you to focus on you. This is a you journey. And then the day that you wake up and you feel so unstoppable and there's no fear, you're not worried about anything, and you're waking up, giving yourself permission to go, be, do you, that's when other people are going to say, hey, what kind of pie are you eating over there? I want a piece of that. But they have to feel you waking up excited, living vibrantly every single day. So if in the back of your mind you're saying, okay, I'm not quite there yet, it's not a time to beat yourself up. It's a time to say, you just keep going on your personal growth journey. Of course, we do. I'm not saying you don't invite. I'm not saying you don't do the other Beachbody coach things. But don't feel like you're not capable just because the results aren't there yet. There will come a day, if you get dedicated enough on this personal growth journey, where you're like bursting through these obstacles and challenges faster than ever. Bonnie Engel is one of my best friends, and everyone always asks me, how did she grow it so fast in this business? And I say, to be honest, she failed faster and harder and got up when things were harder than anyone else. If this didn't work, she tried 20 things. And if she fell down, she got up faster than everyone else did. It's not that she's more talented, although she's amazingly talented. I love her dearly. It's just that she's willing to fight back and she's here. She's focused, blinders on. So in this business, guys, mastering your mindset is not this wonky hoo-ha hocus pocus. It is your insurance to kick ass at life and in this business. So you can conquer or you can crumble. That's really our only choices every single day. So, when you have struggles in the business, if you had coaches quit, maybe you're at Success Club Zero right now and you're just like not feeling it. You are in charge of creating that energy and momentum, being bold and courageous, and taking action to fix how you feel. So when I'm mastering my mindset, if I don't like something that's going on, if it's something I can control, guess who takes responsibility? I do. My golden rule is I'm not going to be able to do everything, but I know through personal growth and through experience and challenging myself that I can do anything. So fast forward to last Christmas, and my husband was diagnosed again. On December 21st, it spread to his lungs. And so I'm like, all right, universe, like I hear you loud and freaking clear. And that's when we kind of made the decision that we're the guinea pigs for other people to like remember that we can do hard things. So I had to pack up our life for 12 weeks, move in with my in-laws because Lake Tahoe doesn't have a cancer center. And it was about 4 hours away. And through the holidays and my grandmother passes away on New Year's, like the universe was pounding on me. And I'm not going to say I was smiling like a smirk, but I was almost like okay with the scenario because I felt that we could get through anything. So thanks to this business, I sat next to my husband every single day and I just kept saying, I'm so glad that I mastered my mindset. I'm so glad that we are here to remind other people that they can do hard things. So if you're ever wondering how people do the unthinkable, like, is anyone here inspired by Olympian athletes or the people who lose a leg and then they go run a marathon? Like the kind of unthinkable stories, right? And then here we are like complaining about our life. It's kind of crazy sometimes. I always am so inspired by these big stories where people are literally doing the impossible. And I ask myself, how do they do it? And I'll tell you how they do it. They literally train their brain. They train their brain like they're an Olympian athlete. So I was a gymnast growing up, and I did gymnastics for 12 years, and I see what these young women are doing on the Olympics. I'm sure you all watch the floor routines, right? They're amazing. And I say, that's impossible. I know how to, I was a good gymnast, and I was like, that's impossible what they're doing. And I asked myself, how are they doing it? First, they're training their brain. Think of an Olympian's morning routine, guys. Do you think it's like waking up out of bed? I don't really feel like it today. They do PT. They're training their brain and their body, everything to a T. Another awesome point I always like to make about the gymnasts is that they don't get 10.0 scores, okay? So stop striving for perfection. I want you to strive for dedication on this journey. They don't get 10.0s because being perfect doesn't exist. And so Olympian athletes who train 4 years, day in and day out, obsession, focus, like laser focused, they don't get 10.0s, but they're dedicated to get their best score. So ask yourself, tomorrow morning when you wake up, are you living your life vibrantly to the best of your ability to get that dedicated score every single day? And that is how you start to become unstoppable in this business. And when you start to share that journey of what that looks like, people will notice, they will feel it. And it can't be a month. It's not like, all right, March is my month. It's 2017 is my year. This is something that people are going to be watching you do day in and day out, and it takes time. Think about how long it took you to reach out to your coach, or think about how long it took you to take action on this journey. It's going to take others just as long. So people do the unthinkable by literally training their brain. So if you guys are taking any notes, this is something that I have right on my computer because it really reminded me that I had to get real about training my mind. It wasn't an option to master my mindset. I had to do it. So why is a strong mind crucial? Like, why should you give two hoots about what I'm saying right now? Because people without a strong mind are dependent on others for validation. And how true is that? So, like I said, I promised, and I will say the word promise, I will promise you that there will be a day that you wake up and feel unstoppable and confident if you fully immerse yourself on this personal growth journey to the point that you don't care about the judgment. And all you care about is changing your life and influencing others and making a difference in this world. Nothing else matters. The judgment, I don't care about the politics going on. I don't let any of that affect me. I'm living my life vibrantly and I'm helping other people do the same. And I'm pretty sure that you're all here at Beachbody to do the same. I hope so. So when you have a strong mind, you don't need anyone else's validation. You get to wake up and be you. And there's only one you. You've heard that a million times, but maybe you need to be reminded. You are the only you. Do not ever forget how special that is. I think it's the coolest thing ever. People are like, how are you so happy? I'm like, there's only one me. So I'm in charge of being me. So today I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do that. So I started this whole mastering your mindset journey back when the book You Are a Badass came out. So obviously that's like really old now, but that was the book where I felt like the author was poking me in the forehead and telling me, what are you doing letting everyone else like dictate how you live your life? And so that was a huge turning point for me in my business. So maybe you read that book at a different time in your coach career. If it didn't really impact you, maybe go back through it and listen to what she says. It's a book that I have that I've highlighted. I have notes in it. I have tabs in it. And it's like my little Bible. I love her. Now I've moved on to reading Gabby Bernstein books. People always ask me what kind of personal development I'm doing. When you're ready to receive a pretty heavy message about changing your life, Spirit Junkie and The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein, amazing books. But just know that, I have people that sometimes pick up those books and they're like, I don't think this is the right time. I'm not really connecting. They're just kind of reading the same paragraph over and over. When a book speaks to you, you'll know. John C. Maxwell's newest book, so good. It's No Limits. It's a pretty big book. I ordered this on March 7th when it came out, and I read 75 pages of it on my flight already. So I love it. They're books, you have to elevate your mind and your energy. And I don't know how people would ever do it without personal development, whether it's audio, whether it's podcasts, whether it's a book, an event. You have to fully immerse yourself on that journey. And that's how I've been able to every single day feel well equipped to tackle all the challenges. So, you have all these learned beliefs. I'm really fortunate that I grew up with encouraging families, and I have a sister who is the world to me. She's awesome. But maybe that wasn't the case for you, or maybe you were bullied in high school, or, whatever it is. I mean, trust me, I had my fair share of that too. But just know that, being 31 years old or however old you are, you can make the choice to rewire the beliefs you have. If you're not confident, if you're not shy, or if you're shy, if you're introverted, those aren't diseases. You're not stuck with them. Those are things that you can uproot and change. I have a coach on my team who's in the top 50 right now in the company, and she was so awkwardly introverted that I would take her to a Super Saturday to share her transformation because it's so mind-blowing. And words would not come out of her mouth when she started because that's how nervous she was. And now she's going to kick my butt in this business. She's kicking butt. She has studied why introverts feel the way they do and what they can do to change how they feel. And so if you're introverted or shy, Chalene Johnson says, you're not a 4-year-old kid hanging onto your mom's leg anymore. You're an adult now. It's your time to serve this world. And as coaches, I think that's so beautifully said. But the book, The Introvert's Advantage, if you're shy or introverted, is something you really want to look into. It's not a disease, guys. It's something that you can still take and master, okay? Okay, let's talk a little bit about empowering yourself. And I forgot to say too, at the end, I love questions because I'm always pumped up and then people are like staring at me like deer in the headlights. So please, you can ask me any questions that you want at all. So if you have any, you can throw them in the chat box or ask at the end. But, let's talk a little bit about gaining momentum. So at Brendan Burchard this past week, he talked about, a power plant. And a power plant doesn't have energy, it generates energy. You are the power plant. You must generate the energy. If you are tired, you need to get moving. You need to learn some breathing exercises. Use some essential oils. It doesn't have to be energized. I know Beachbody coaches practically snort that stuff. I can't even drink it. I forgot to add too, when my husband, during his chemo, I had mono for a year, so I just got better. So I was I was more sick than my husband when he was in the hospital. And so I can't do any the adrenal caffeine crazy stuff anymore. I just finally got rid of all of it, and I've had to completely like revamp my whole system. So, you know, you are responsible for gaining that momentum. So if you are nervous and don't feel empowered, that's not a reason as to why you can't do anything. You have to take a step forward. So I always tell people, it's like, you know, there's this pool in front of you. It's this Beachbody pool, and success is waiting for you. We've told you what you need to do to be successful. And if you aren't sure you can figure it out, just like Ashley Molstead said on the National Wake Up Call today, she pretty much taught herself everything. She hit Success Club 551 in January. And granted, one of her posts went viral, and that's how she did it. But I'm just saying that, you know, it doesn't have to be your sponsor or a training. It's really something that you can decide. So picture this Beachbody pool in front of you. A lot of people have jumped in already and splashed around a lot. And if you're dipping your toe in and like, you know, posting once and like kind of doing your meal plan and like kind of showing up on team calls, like I always tell my team, if you're going to show up in a team call, show your face. So, you know, for everyone that's here, I'm just being honest with you guys, like you're going to show up, you're going to fully immerse yourself. That would be like me coming on here and not talking to you guys and not having my camera on, you know? So jump in the pool. You'll find out real fast if it's cold, hot, warm, stinky, whatever. You need to jump in the pool, and that's a decision that you have to make. If you want to empower yourself and gain momentum, that's how you do it. And I think that too many people, they're looking for another answer other than just take action and fail forward. If you make a post and it doesn't get traction, you just keep going. If you make a challenge group invite and it doesn't work, guess what? You rewrite it and you try something new. I've had to try so many things in my business, and every year or every 6 months, this business changes. The way that I learned this business back in the beginning, it was pick monkey. You make a post, you know, who's interested in my challenge group, and then I would message all the people who liked it, and I hit Success Club. It's not like that anymore, guys. It's different. So you have to be able to adapt and move as the CEO of your own business. So that's my rant on empowering yourself. So don't live that victim role. I am like a tough love, still love kind of coach, because I know that, you know, I think back to those Olympian gymnasts. When they fall off the balance beam, their coach isn't like petting them, like, it's okay. They're like, get back up in that balance beam. It's all good. You fell off. Practice, practice, practice. And they just keep going for 4 years, and then they have their big debut. That's pretty much what this is like, right? Maybe you're in your freshman year of Beachbody. Maybe you're a junior. Losing my voice. I like scream when I do these calls. Maybe you're a junior, senior. I have no idea how long you've been doing this. But the day that you fully immerse yourself, you will really start to feel a difference in your business, and so will the people that are watching you. And also, as you're gaining momentum, don't slow down, because people are kind of waiting for you to slow down. If you're dipping your toe in and out of the pool, people aren't going to trust you. I wouldn't trust someone that was kind of sort of showing up to be a Beachbody coach, or kind of sort of showing up on their journey, right? I didn't say perfection, dedication, commitment. Right? So I went on my trip for 12 days, and I still shared on social media. I told people like all the awesome things I ate, and that, you know, I only worked out once in 7 days. Like, I shared it. Share the real, because guess what? How many other people do you think are out there that didn't work out 1 in 7 days? Probably 98% of our population, you know? So wake up and be you. Like, what if you just decided to pull the curtains back and say, this is me, and you just really didn't care what anyone said, because you don't need to. It feels so good to just be you and do it with class. You don't need to have an ego and be like, watch me go. It's not like that. It's just waking up and confidently believing in yourself and sharing an honest journey. So there's always going to be someone out there that doesn't really like what you have to share. And I always say that that's a good thing, especially in coaching, because I only want the people who relate to me. So I don't want 100,000 fans on my Facebook page when 20,000 of them don't like me. I'm going to just get rid of all of them and stick to my 70,000, maybe that actually like me and that I can relate to. And then I can talk about, you know, like ovulation problems and period cramps and essential oils and all girly things, right? I want the people who are going to relate to me. That was kind of a side tangent. Sorry, but I get pumped up. Okay, a couple more things, and then I'll have questions. So I want to talk about the big F word, the failure word, because everyone always says, I'm afraid to fail. Or, I'll say, hey, what's going on? Like, how come you're not really pushing anymore? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to fail. And I tell them, well, number one, you have to fail. So let's just get that one out of the way, right? It's essential on this journey. And failure becomes our biggest fear in this business. But the beauty is you can't fail at this business, because the only time that you fail is when you quit or don't try. That's it. So if I've never hit Success Club, okay, let's say I've been a coach for 3.5 years. Let's say I've never hit Success Club. Carl doesn't call me up. Natalie doesn't call you up and tell you that you suck. You can wake up on April 1st and make the decision to change lives April 1st if you want, or tomorrow. So there's no failure in this business unless you quit. So this whole BS story about I'm afraid to fail, it doesn't work. That's just such a cop-out that you're not willing to get your feet wet and jump in the pool. So guys, if you master your mindset and read books and fully immerse yourself and be self-aware, like, are you acting every single day and just saying like, well, I'm scared to make this post, and that's why you don't make the post? I actually just made a whole video on this today on my social media if you guys want to watch it, but it's my 5 tips on facing fears. But you have to be self-aware about like the story you're feeding yourself. And when you start to say it out loud, you're like, oh my God, I've been holding myself back for 31 years of my life, or however old you are. So failure is a delay in this business. I love that saying, because let's say I missed Elite last year and the year before, and I've never hit Success Club. Failing is just a delay. And you actually can't fail, like I said. So Mindy Wender once said, replace the word failure with the word stumble. So now we say stumbling is our biggest fear, and that just sounds like, hey, I don't feel like trying. So which story are you telling yourself? Okay, no more failure. I'm going to tell you, you have to make a mistake. Get out there. And people say, well, what if this? And I say, if it doesn't kill you, do it. Sometimes it's going to sting a little bit. So you have to get that awkward, uncomfortable, sweaty palm feeling out of the way. As of right now, the only thing that's scaring the crap out of me is stepping on stage at Summit speaking. Like, as of right now, nothing else in this business scares me. And so until I get to that point, I'm just going to keep pushing myself and pushing myself. It's saying my internet is unstable, so hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, so last thing, your personal development is your toolbox. So that when life throws you a curveball, guys, you have a tool and you're going to whip it out and you're going to fix that shit. Okay? If you're not doing PD as if it's your life and it's like propelling your life, we need to have a chat, because it changed my life. And how many other times have you heard coaches say PD is everything? We don't just say it just because. It will compel you when you fully immerse yourself. There's 3 types of personal development in this business. The first is a me book, the feel-good books, the you are a badass, the easy reads, which is why everyone reads them. It's the rainbows and butterflies and the glitter books, all that. The second type of personal development is a business book. So things like Go for No, which, by the way, there's a new one out for network marketing. Go get it. 6 Months to 6 Figures is one of my other super favorite books. Don't worry so much about the title. Obviously, in our business, it's not really like that, but it's a great workbook. And the third type of personal development is experience. And it's not a book. I mean, literally experience. You've got to get out from behind your computer. You've got to get out from behind that book. So when a coach says, oh, I read my 10 minutes of PD, and they put their book down and then they go watch TV. Are you living your life with full vibrancy, reading 10 minutes of PD and hiding behind that book for 2 years of your coach career? You got to get out from behind that book. I remember making the investment to go to a Beachbody event that was held in SoCal, and I was broke as a joke. I threw $200 on my credit card and I made it happen. And then I freaked out because I had to pay off that $200. So you bet I busted my butt to pay that off. You know, this isn't Dave Ramsey friendly, but make the investment to go to the events. And you guys hear that all the time. I don't read Dave Ramsey because for me, I'm focused on the abundance factor and not like the save and pinch every penny. Although I understand people budget, but guess what? If I pinched every single penny, I would not be where I am today. I've been to the summits and the events, Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard. Still to this day, I invest like 30% back into my business for personal development and for my team to grow. That's like way more than you should, but that's what I thrive on. So that experience is a big thing. And so here's my challenge to you guys as far as people say, what can I do for an experience? reach out to your local Super Saturday and tell them you want to help. Tell them that you want to share your story. I don't care if you're the water boy. I don't care if you check tickets in. You need to start seeing yourself in these positions where you are part of this community, where you are saying, hey, what's up? You are speaking on stage, that you are a 10-star diamond, whatever your dream may be, okay? You have to start putting yourself in those scenarios. When your coach asks, who wants to help me with the team call or the training next week, become a yes person and just do it. You're not going to know what you're doing. Guess what? That's how we all started. It's the only way you're going to do it. So if you're interested in other books, I tell people to read Life's Golden Ticket by Brendan Burchard. It's a storybook. It's an awesome book. And then The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. That was kind of the book that got me to, like, I always knew how to master my mindset, but to talk about it is a whole other thing. So that was a book that really helped me kind of put everything into words. So I'm out of breath. That is my spiel on my hype on mastering your mindset and why you need to do it. It will change your life, your relationships, and everything around you.
So good. So good. Like, nailed it. You nailed it. I have a question for you. For your brand new coaches, right? So those coaches that, like, you're just signing up, what's the first personal development you recommend for them to do?
So I'm kind of like a detective. I kind of feel them out. There's 2 books I usually recommend. If they're like and I don't mean this in a mean way, but if they're like the broken, like I just came from the, like me in the beginning, rock bottom, right? If they just kind of need like the warm up, You Are a Badass. That's getting them into like the positive world, which I had never heard someone talk like that. So You Are a Badass. I was like, what is this world? But then also at the same time, I have people who are like, hey, when can I start my first challenge group? And I'm like, oh, this person's an entrepreneur. So Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy. I think that book's like made for Beachbody coaches for any network marketing. So those are like my go-to first books.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Awesome. Well, what questions do you guys have? I know the chat box was blowing up with like, oh, this is amazing. This is great.
Good. So, I'm glad. Because in the beginning, I was like, all right, like I really need to wake up. I was like doing breathing exercises. I'm like, I gotta wake up.
I'm like that too on calls. And then I swear afterwards, it's like you're on this, adrenaline high. Yeah, it's crazy.
Were there any other questions in there? I was trying to scroll and see. And they can be anything, guys, too. And I didn't know how long your team call was, so I didn't want to be rude and just keep talking. But
no, you're fine. Yeah.
I have a question. I was wondering, do you ever do like a group personal development with your team? Like we're all going to read this book together and do it together, like implement together?
So my team is like personal development gurus. And I think it's because like I've created that culture. Like we don't even have to do that. We are like, our whole team page is just like this PD and mindset and owning it. And so everyone's kind of at different levels. To answer your question, no. But my challenge groups are completely lifestyle mindset, self-love based. So that is kind of intertwined into my groups as far, I have my coaches in those groups, obviously. But no, to answer your question.
So you guys just all share, like, I'm reading this and I'm loving this and this is a great quote. Like it's just constant, everyone sharing everything.
Yeah. And I mean, I have probably like all my diamonds are, like if you go to their social media, it's like all personal development. So our teams and our challengers and everyone watching us always they know what we're reading. It's like we're talking about it, we're quoting it. We have our leader page. I call it Dream Corp Elite. And we're consistently sharing like passages or books or something that we learned. It's like, I feel like we're just so connected in that way of personal development. It's kind of just how we communicate. If there's ever a good read, we definitely share it. I mean, my entire office is like stack of books. I just keep that on it.
I know. I got a new book the other day, and I didn't have room in my cabinet to put it on. Like, oh gosh, like I'm just cramming stuff in there. Because it's interesting, when I first started this, so I've been a coach for 7 years. And when I first started, had no clue what I was doing, no clue. I don't even think we had the vital behaviors back then. So I didn't even know what personal development was. But I know I didn't do it. And once I started hearing about it, I was like, oh, whatever, you know, like it was one of the things that was always the easiest to let slide. Mm-hmm. And now it's the one, like if I don't get anything else done during the day, like if it's just a crazy day, even on the weekends, like I get up, I sit in my chair right here and I get my personal development done. You know, it's become that important to me. You know, like, and it's known too, like the kids know, you know, my husband knows, like I come in here first thing in the morning with my coffee, and that's when I get, you know, my fill. And I can tell the days that I haven't done it. I mean, mindset, it's crazy. Like you said, you know, it's a muscle that you constantly have to be working. And it's like, and I love you correlating it to, you know, your workout and your fitness, because it's so true. Like we don't want to miss a workout because we're afraid that like we might lose some muscle tone. Well, why aren't we afraid to miss personal development, you know? And same thing, lose that muscle. It's crazy.
And like people are always like, why aren't there 2 million Beachbody coaches if it's the coolest thing since sliced bread? And I go, well, because it's the hardest work we've ever done. Like I could sell wine. If you guys could see my vanity, like makeup, hello, I could sell all that, but that's not what I want to do. I want to help people literally feel their life change and watch it change, not through a product, but through an experience. So when you guys are working with people, you're creating an experience opportunity. And if you're like, what is that? And how do I do that? You just got to work more in that personal growth journey. And there's going to be a day where you just know your mission and you know how to talk to people because you have done all the student hard work. You have done the, like, let's just go kick ass and nothing else matters, you know? Okay, I could rant forever.
I love that because you said that at the beginning too, like, you know, with new coaches, you know, focus on you and focus on your journey and everything. Like, yes, we want his success club, get to Emerald, do the business thing. But as you're doing that, like really be focusing on the person that you're becoming. And one day you wake up and you're just ready to take on the world. And that, when you were saying that, I was like, oh my God, that's so true. You know, because I can remember when, you know, it is like when you look, even like at social media, you look at my social media now compared to, you know, a few years ago, it's just night and day,
yes.
The person that I've become.
That's one of the other calls I do is from coach to CEO and kind of what the difference is of like that one star diamond that got stuck forever because I was there, you know, to the elite coaches or things like that. And it's when I go to someone's social media, do I know that they're helping people? Do I know that you can help me? Do I know that you're serving? Do I know what your mission is? Or is it, hey, did my workout, drank my shake, did this today? Is it the me song or is it the, hey, I'm freaking changing lives song? And so there will come that day where you're serving and everything's about everyone else because you're already taken care of. And people are like, well, what about me? And I'm like, well, you already got that down over your first 18 months or whatever. Then you teach others how you did it.
Yeah. It's so true. I never looked at it that way. Anybody else have any questions? You can either unmute yourself or you can type it in the chat box, whichever is easiest for you. If you have a question, definitely take advantage and ask.
I'm reading all the comments. You guys are awesome. This is where you got out of your comfort zone and ask me a question.
I know, right? Yeah. So Craig Holiday, back when I first started, I was an Emerald. I don't even know if I could get to an Emerald, but I came from like a sales background. So like, I've got this in the bag, you know, like I just knew I'd be, and I was not like, I was just on the struggle bus. I could not, I was like, what is wrong with me? And he's the one that first told me that, you know, the only way you can fail in this business is if you quit. And I was like, you know, at the time it didn't really click, but as you get into this business, I mean, of course there's so many times when you're like banging your head against a wall and you're failing left and right, you know, and like last year was a big year of failure for me, you know, missed elite, didn't rank advance, you know, like it was just like failure, you know, in my eyes, failure after failure after failure. And then it's become what 2017 can be a huge opportunity to capitalize on that, you know, instead of just throwing my hands up in the air and quitting, which before I think that that's probably, and it's not, you know, we still have to practice that, right? It's not like I don't wake up sometimes and I'm so frustrated, you know, that I'm like, oh, is it worth it? And it's like, yes, it's worth it. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
So, yeah.
And when you guys get frustrated, you know, because like, trust me, I have those moments. Like my taxes are a mess. The IRS messed up 2 EINs for me. Like it's really bad. And so there's moments where I'm like, how much energy do I put into this? And when I get mad about it, I give myself like 20 minutes and then pity party's over. And so if you're mad about things, if you become a pro at mastering your mindset and like actually using the exercises that the books tell you, you will start to notice that it's not 24 hours anymore. It's not 20 days. It's not 20 months anymore. It's like 20 minutes and then sometimes down to like 20 seconds. So,
yeah. I love that. Kara just said, I love the me personal development. Can't seem to get into the business PD and I need it. What kind of, like, how would you recommend? Because I get that. Because the business PD sometimes can be hard, you know? It is. Because, like, sometimes our minds just don't want to go there. But I do think that we all need some of it sometimes, you know?
So let me kind of rephrase the business PD. So like reading GoPro made me want to sleep. Like John C. Maxwell is super dry too, but his new book, he actually, I feel like is more lively. He changed his style a lot, but business personal development could be like you doing like a Facebook ads training or getting to a seminar. So, you know, I didn't actually sit down and read a book for 4 days while I was at Brendan Burchard, but my veins were injected with business development for 4 days. So it doesn't have to be go for no. It doesn't have to be 6 months to 6 figures. But let's say if you're like, all right, like I'm 1-star diamond or I've got, 10 PS coaches, I want to get to 20. You're going to have to do some type of business development. Maybe you watch one of your favorite coaches' not whole YouTube channel, that's kind of obnoxious, but you do a series of like, that's business development to me as well. I'm not saying just do that. But I don't always necessarily go pick up a book. I probably only read a business development book, like, I don't know, once a quarter. Because I feel like it doesn't change, like network marketing doesn't change that much, but I change personally. So it's good to kind of go back every now and then. And I always read the books that my team needs. So the Go for No network marketing book is something that my team's actually reading right now. I just bought it. So do I ever listen to PD YouTube videos or inspirational videos? Oh, sorry, I skipped a question. Do you ever do business and me? Yes. I like multitask in books. I'm like a serial book reader. I could read like 20 books at once. It doesn't matter to me. Like I don't have to know beginning to end what each book is. And like I've only read 73 pages of this because I'll take a chapter and then like I apply it and I get it into my body so that I'm not just reading a book. I'll apply it and then I'll come back to this. And then maybe I went and read, The Universe Has Your Back because that's what I needed today. I really go based off of what I feel like I need for the day. And it's still PD. It still motivates me. Do I ever listen to PD YouTube videos or inspirational videos? So I typically like to listen to the videos from my favorite people that I follow, like Gary Vaynerchuk, Brendan Burchard, Gabby Bernstein, and they're always sending stuff to my email, or Darren Hardy. So I don't really have to like go on YouTube necessarily for it. Were there times in my coach career where I was fishing for some inspiration? Absolutely. I know, why am I blanking on who it was? Oh, the TED Talks. I don't know why, I just forgot what that was called. But the TED Talks, I was like, how can I help people face fear? Like when I started to get into this, why aren't people taking action? Like what can I do to help them? And so I started watching lots of TED Talks. But a great podcast is Entrepreneur on Fire. If you've never heard of that one before, it's another great one. I really like it because he doesn't bring people on to talk about their successes. He brings people on to talk about their failures. And so when I hear people losing $4 billion in an investment they made, and I'm like, and you're scared to make a post on social media and share your before and after, like it's just a major reality check of what we think of as hard work. Like as hard work, this is mental hard work. This is not like sit here, physical, type on the keyboard hard work. This is mental and emotional hard work, which is why you have to master your mindset.
I think one of the best team calls we ever did, and I didn't record it, and I did that on purpose. There was a group, and it was whoever got on, and we kind of went around and we told about something that we've overcome in our life, right? I mean, and I'm telling you, it was, and this is a great idea for a team call, by the way, but I'm telling you, it was so emotional. It was so touching, and it was deep. Like there's some people on our team that have been through some ish, Yeah. And at the end brought it back to that same thing. Like, look at all the hard stuff we've all overcome in our life, like abuse. I mean, the list was crazy. And yet we're afraid to send out an invite. or we're afraid to post on social media. Like, y'all, we do hard things, and it was but it was so good. It brought us so close as a team. And it brought that point home. And so we hashtag a lot, like we do hard things. So when you were saying that, I was like, see, we do hard things. Because it's just, why are we're not, look at what we've overcome in our life, yet we're afraid of something so simple.
Yep. Excuse me.
All right. Anything else, you guys? No? Well, thank you so much, Colleen, for your time. I know that you just got back, like you said, from you're traveling and everything. So I really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. It was very well received and very much appreciated. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.